We have everybody? All right. So welcome once again to our evening on conscious philanthropy. My name is Sundari Williams, and I am on the board and oversee the events and the educational components of conscious capitalism for the Bay Area. So I want to welcome you all and give you just a little bit of a snapshot about the organization and what we're up to. I know there's several people that were here last month. Just show of hands. Several? Yes, hello again. Yeah. And there's lots of new people. Show of hands. Just get you guys moving. All right. Yes. Good. So our intention, just a couple things to set up the evening for you, just give you a little bit of background. So first we want to thank our sponsors, and particularly Hanson Bridget for taking good care of us this evening. And Jonathan, thank you. He's by the door. Thank you. Yes, he's wonderful for hosting us. Yes. Okay, wonderful. And then for our schedule, we're going to go till about 7:30, and then there'll be a little bit more networking. Here is our mission. Ooh, it's on auto. There we go. So here's our mission. A lot of people ask me, what do we mean when we talk about conscious capitalism? And for us, particularly in the Bay Area, it's very much not only about how do we look at business and think about business differently, but actually how to take different actions, take different behaviors, have different conversations, and really be able to support a new approach to how we engage in business and in our workday and in our personal lives, frankly. It touches every area. So that's our commitment and our mission. And then our purpose, people again often ask, well, when you think about conscious business, it's on auto loop, so it's giving me a run for my money. There's 4 different areas. So we've got purpose, and then we call these our tenets. Conscious culture, so really looking at and thinking about how we create conscious culture. Stakeholder engagement, which we'll be talking about later, and then also conscious leadership. So those are the tenets that we really look at when we think about conscious capitalism. And so you might find yourself with an interest in all of these, particularly maybe one area, and we welcome all of those conversations, insights, and sharing. So the last thing I would say is, if you would like, we love it when you post, so there are details for you. And then our next event is December 3rd, and then here's our calendar, which you might have seen looping earlier. And then there's our board, just so you can see who is on the board. And then our speakers for the evening. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to Steve. Thank you. And Steve will just share a little bit about the membership, and then we'll turn it over to our moderator and the panel. So thank you for your attention and your energy, and thank you for being here and your commitment to this work.
Hi guys, I'm Steve Havel with Concierge Ventures. I'm also a board member and really honored to be able to talk with you guys about sponsorship and membership. Let's see what's on the
Here we go.
shiny object.
There you are.
Well, hey, great. So, we got a show of hands of how many have been here before. And I don't know if any of you had this experience, but when I first heard of conscious capitalism, when I first got plugged into the community, it was like every person that I spoke to was pre-qualified as cool with me. They were like, up to something awesome in life. They were really, when I found out about it, I just lit on fire because I knew that there was something more for business that was ready to happen, about the heart of business, getting back to energy exchange and where this all started. And I thought that as an entrepreneur, you think, we're going to go out and make this difference. And then you find out there's a community that's already up to this. There's a movement worldwide that's happening. And so when I got plugged in, it was about 3 years of going to events, national events for this, and getting plugged into the San Francisco chapter was such an honor. And what we put together is an opportunity for membership. If you're someone that really digs this, that loves what it's about, you can become a core member. And it's an annual fee of $120 or $10 a month. And that's just to share the love and support the cause, but it also gives you a 25% discount off as many tickets as you'd like to get, to bring as many cool people to this event and connect. And you'll find that the people that you've met here are going to become amazing network associates, amazing friends. Some of my best friends in life in these last 3 years have come from this community. So it's just an amazing community of resident people up to big things. And on the sponsor level, we're pleased to have a cool set of sponsors right now, and we're always looking for other sponsors at the business level that are interested in associating with a brand of conscious capitalism and saying, look, that's me, I want to raise my hand. And with being a champion sponsor with conscious capitalism in the Bay Area, you get a chance to really promote your business on our platform, you get a chance to utilize the Conscious Capitalism Bay Area logo in your materials, and also support events. And there's just a lot of really cool goodness. There's a number of tickets that come with the sponsorship. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor or know someone that is, definitely talk to us. We'd love to give you a little more details, share about what that is. And then we put together a third option, which is kind of a build your own. And that's if you decide, hey, I really resonate with this event, I'd like to come in and sponsor this particular event, or maybe you're a brewery and you just want to contribute the beer for a particular event, or whatever it is. You can share the love in lots and lots of ways. So I want to just say thank you guys for being here. I'm really excited about the panel that we have tonight. And if you have any questions about sponsorship or how conscious capitalism can serve you and your organization or individually as a member, definitely come and see me. Or I think my email's up here too, at Steve at Contia Ventures. But I'll be around afterwards if you have any questions. So I'm going to hand it over to Jeff. He's going to be our moderator for the evening. And I hope you guys have a great night. Nobody told me.
I know.
I thought you.
That's awful, isn't it? You find out afterwards your collar's up. That's There's a lot worse that could have happened, though, you know. But thanks for so eloquently describing our membership and what we're doing here. It was really great. So you could leave it. Well, let me see. If you put on the first panel, I think that might be the best thing. So thanks for doing that. Yeah, I'm really happy to be moderating this. You know, philanthropy is at the heart of my business, and so the other thing that's worth mentioning is that, you know, how lucky are we to have someone from Whole Foods, because obviously Conscious Capitalism, the book, was co-written by John Mackey from Whole Foods, and of course Raj Sisodia as well. So it's kind of neat that, thank you, Matt, for being here and representing Whole Foods. So philanthropy, you know, my company is Dharma Merchant Services, and you know, we do business here in actually all over the country. But my daughter and I started the company in 2007 with the idea that, you know, business does have a responsibility to the community of need, right? And so, you know, we didn't invent that whole thing. We were inspired. I know, Mike, you were influenced by Newman's Own and some of the other companies, Ben & Jerry's, who had philanthropy as part and parcel of their business. And being in the financial sector, you know, what we do is we enable companies to accept credit cards. But, you know, people in the financial, or companies in the financial sector, aren't really known for their, you know, giving back. In fact, they're more known for taking away, I think, more than anything else. So it was never done in my part of the financial industry, enabling companies to accept credit cards. And so, but I thought in talking with my daughter that we were inspired that this could be a good venture. And by the way, my daughter, when I was telling about the business model, she said, "Oh, great, Dad, I'd love to do that with you." What is it that you do again? I mean, she took this huge leap of faith, you know, that I knew what I was doing and that the business was solid, and the idea about giving a portion of our profits back to the community every year was a great idea. In fact, we started out with the idea that we would allow our merchants to choose the beneficiaries at the end of every year. It was kind of like working assets long distance, if you remember, which is now called Credo, right? But that's how working assets did it. You would subscribe to their services, and at the end of the year, you could choose the actual beneficiaries that you wanted the proceeds from your account to go to. But after you've got a couple thousand merchants and some of the checks were only marginal, we just decided that just wasn't sustainable, and we kind of made a switch on that. But at any rate, so philanthropy is something that my company and I realize it's part of our, we're baked into what we do. And then along came B Corporation, and I think 2009 we became a B Corporation. I think, Mike, you were already a B Corp at that point as well. And then I also remember the day that benefit corporations came to being here in California, and my daughter was actually on the steps of the Capitol building in Sacramento with Yvonne Trinard, and Mike, I imagine you were probably there. Jonathan, I'm not sure, Jonathan might have been there as well. So, you know, these are all ways that the companies can actually commit to a model of giving back and supporting community. So what we're going to do right now, we have 3 panelists, and if you don't mind turning on your microphones, I'm going to ask you to self-introduce, you know, so rather than me read your bios and try to, you know, struggle through, you know, what it is that you've done and maybe some of your history, I just thought I would have you just introduce yourselves to the crowd. So we'll just go from left to right. Naomi, if you would start.
Hi, I'm Naomi Morenzoni. I'm Director of Philanthropy, Outreach, and Engagement at the Salesforce Foundation.
People here? No.
Get a little closer. Does that help?
Better.
I'll lean into the microphone. Director of Philanthropy, Outreach, and Engagement at the Salesforce Foundation. And I have the great, really fun role of trying to work with other companies to inspire and engage them around adopting a philanthropic model, putting that into their business right from day one. We like to call it pledging 1% of nothing when you are not profitable, and so it's much easier to say, hey, I'm gonna give back than it is to build that later. And I can go into a little bit how we do that and how it works at Salesforce after the other panelists introduce.
Thanks. Hey, everybody. My name is Matt Rogers. I am a produce guy for Whole Foods Market. I direct our global purchasing and standards work for produce. So it's all the fruits, vegetables, and flowers that we sell. And obviously have a big interest in conscious capitalism. It's kind of interesting when John's book came out, we all kind of went through it and thought, yeah, it sounds familiar, you know, that sounds, I've heard that before. But it's really interesting to see it all put together, put it on paper, sort of all this stuff that Whole Foods has been playing around with for a while. And so I'm happy to try to share a couple of examples of how we practice that as the conversation goes on. Thanks for having me.
My name is Mike Hannigan. I'm the president and co-founder of Give Something Back Office Supplies, which is headquartered in Oakland, across the bay. We're a national office products company, B2B, so we're like Staples or Office Depot. I think we're the largest privately owned office supply company in the West Coast, but certainly in California. So I went to college in the 70s, so I was one of those student radicals. Went to graduate school at Berkeley, and was stamped at that period of my life as an activist. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an activist. And so activists ended up either teaching sociology somewhere, became lawyers, or went into public health. But I completely accidentally stumbled into the business world in 1978 with an entry-level a job at the Xerox Corporation. And for the next 13 years, I became an expert in the office products industry. But I was still active in my main interest in life. And I would go protest U.S. foreign policy in Nicaragua or El Salvador after hours, after work. And I found a way, but I also realized how important a tool was, that business was as a vehicle, as the principal vehicle for the creation and distribution of wealth in our society. So, and I had accidentally mastered this tool, and I found a way to use this tool to satisfy my community service muscle and work that muscle. And the model I found was the Newman's Own model. So I got divorced in 1991, and divorced men oftentimes eat spaghetti sauce out of bottles for dinner. So when you're shopping for spaghetti sauce, you notice that one of the brands has a big red sticker on the front that says all profits from the sale of this product are donated to charities. So as a consumer, the light bulb went off. I'm getting everything I want for dinner at a competitive price. It's healthy. It's the brand that I appreciate. Plus, my act of patronizing that product versus the Franco-American alternative or the Ragu alternative supported the community interest. That was my application in life. So I realized that this business model would work in the industry that I had become an expert in, so I created Give Something Back. and found a way to use the business tool to create wealth and a way to distribute its profits to the community. So our business model is that all of our profits we earn through competition, and that we ultimately distribute to nonprofit organizations in the communities that we serve, based on the choices made by our customers' employees, and our own employees. So the profits come out of the community, go back to the community in a democratic fashion, according to the needs told to us by the people who live and work in those communities. So that's what we do.
Yeah, great, thank you. Hey, Naomi, I wanted to ask if you could distinguish between the Salesforce Foundation as apart from the Salesforce company.
So I think it's helpful to understand a little bit about Salesforce's history to understand sort of what the foundation is today and its current iteration. So when most of you are probably familiar with Salesforce, being here in San Francisco, so the same day that Mark Benioff, our founder, started Salesforce, he also started the Salesforce Foundation. So at the time, he was trying to pioneer 3 new ideas. One was a new technology model, right, cloud-based computing. This was back when people were still getting the AOL discs in the mail, and it was a very different approach. The second is a new business model, which is subscription-based. Instead of buying all the hardware and having it in your, your servers there in your office, it was cloud, and then you would pay as you go. And the third really important piece was a new philanthropic model. And it's a philanthropic model that we call the 1-1-1 model, which is integrated into the core business of our DNA. So that's 1% product, 1% equity, and 1% time is dedicated to improving communities around the world. And so the way that works in practice is any nonprofit or higher education organization can get 10 free licenses from Salesforce. So they get the same best-in-class technology that Coca-Cola or any of the big commercial enterprises are using to power their own mission, but they get it for free, right? So it's in reach for them. Then if they need any additional products or services, we provided an incredibly steep discount, up to 80% off what the commercial folks are paying. So you get folks like Sierra Club and Girl Scouts being able to really run their complex organizations on that technology at a rate that they can afford. Then the revenue that we make from the sale of that technology goes to funnel into our grant making. So every dollar that we give out in grants is raised through the sale of our technology. So we have become a social enterprise, which is different from what most corporate foundations are, which basically maybe get a percentage of the annual revenue every year from the main company, and they give it out maybe in employee matching or in their own strategic gifts. We really, every dollar that we give out, we have to raise through that sale of our technology. So the technology is supporting the nonprofits and the higher education organizations, as well as then our grant making that we do. And then we give all of our employees 6 paid days off a year to volunteer with the nonprofit of their choice. So that's our 1% time. So we believe that leveraging, sort of pushing all 3 levers, right? So the product, which is our core business, the grants that we can do through the sale of our technology, as well as the time. That's how we're going to have the greatest impact. So we're using our human capital, we use our technology and our business, and we use our own capital to do that. So the Salesforce Foundation is a separate legal entity from Salesforce. We operate separately, but we work very tightly to support Salesforce. We have some folks here actually in the room from Salesforce who do things like the employee volunteering. So we've got 17,000 employees, and we need to provide opportunities for them to do meaningful engagement in their communities through volunteering. We also have a robust sales team in order to be able to do the $100 million in grants that we've done so far. You need to be able to sell that technology, and so we have a guy from our sales team here as well. Also, so we've got some good representation over there. So it's a social enterprise model that didn't start that way, but over time, we realized that we evolve our model to be most effective.
Hey, thank you. It occurs to me that as a B Corp, we get a discount from Salesforce product, and in fact, my company has gotten the Enterprise Edition through the B Corp discount, so we're actually a recipient of their of a program. So thank you very much. And so we're a stakeholder of Salesforce, and Salesforce is a stakeholder of Dharma. In the same way that Whole Foods is a, we're a stakeholder of Whole Foods, because of course, everyone in my company, purchases from Whole Foods, and we're also a client of Give Something Back. So, I bring this up because we're making a concentrated effort, and we're going to dig into this a little bit more later on in our conversation, around the conscious capitalism tenet of stakeholder integration and how important it is to buy goods and services from other companies that are like-minded and through your supply chains, whenever possible. And I know that's really difficult in some cases, but we'll get to that a little bit. So, Matt, we'd love to hear, just kind of give us a higher level overview of programs and what's going on in terms of philanthropy for Whole Foods.
Sure, thanks. Well, I guess at Whole Foods, conscious capitalism really kind of is built into our fiber and our DNA, and it really sort of runs through all that we do. So as a purchasing person, as an operator, I get to practice conscious capitalism on a daily basis, which is probably very unique for somebody in my role at a supermarket chain. And personally, I wouldn't be doing my job for any other supermarket. I'm there, and as are many of my colleagues, we do this work because we have the opportunity to drive change and try to have a positive impact in various ways. So Whole Foods, is a higher purpose organization, has